We are Jambo Radio.
Today we are speaking about education, or furthering your education. I have some great guests with me. You're about to meet them in a second right now. News that's happening around the world. We have a prime minister, a new one in the UK. One of my guests just told me that Kenyans are claiming him. But you know, Kenyans, we like to claim people once we have any connections. So the new prime minister, Rishi Sunak, whose father was actually born in Kenya, they moved to the UK in 1960. I think he's a pharmacist. So we are claiming an Indian now, right after Obama. That's how good we are at claiming any person who's doing well in the world. I'm wearing a t-shirt by Nala Money. They helped us do an event just the other weekend. The person who started Nala is a Tanzanian called Benjamin. But since he speaks Swahili, Kenyans claimed him as well. Hiyo ndio kazi yetu. Without further ado, I want you to meet my guests before we tell you all the interesting things they have to say. And I hope this will be a show that will empower you and you will get information, especially if you or one of your relatives is ever looking to maybe travel the world in search of further studies, they called. So on my immediate left is a lady. I'll let her say her beautiful name and tell us a little bit, just a little bit of what she, maybe tell us what you have in terms of qualification, school qualification first, then we'll go into the details about, you know, the whole process.
Okay.
Welcome.
Yay, thanks for having me, Tony.
Karibu sana.
I feel like I'm finally a celebrity.
We are trying. Sasa I'm trying to, we are all making it together.
Exactly.
Asanti kwa kukuja, asanti, and you are on time.
I know, right? I keep time.
You are white about time.
Yeah, I'm
we are still late.
I've never struggled with time, so I just don't get people that are normally late.
Hey,
yeah.
I am going to do, I'll do better. I promise. I'm late for my own show. My guest was here first. So tell us your names, please.
Okay, my name is Marilyn. I'm currently a doctoral researcher at University of Strathclyde. So that's where I study. Education background, since we're about education. So I also did my master's here at Strathclyde. I did a master's in international management. But before that, my undergrad was in Bachelor of Science in Financial Engineering in JKUAT in Kenya. So yes, I've had a chance to study both in Kenya and over here.
That list is long. Maybe you left me at doctorate.
Yes.
So next thing you're doing, you're becoming a doctor.
Yes.
We're calling you doc.
From my mouth to God's ears, yes.
Wow, that is that's amazing. And in how long might we be having to call you a doc now?
In the next couple of months.
Months?
Yeah, in the next couple of months.
Kabisa. We are alikas. You know, we party when we hear we have a new doctor.
Lazima tukule pilau.
Kabisa. On my far left, I have a gentleman. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah.
My G.
Tony, thanks so much for inviting me. My name is James Karari.
Mm-hmm.
It's the new student here doing an undergrad, and like our esteemed soon-to-be doctor.
Undergrad in?
Yeah, undergrad in audio production.
Mm-hmm.
Probably going to end up working in spaces like this quite a lot. So yeah. Background though, I didn't like come straight from high school into
sound
UK and into audio.
Yeah,
there was a lot of up and downs. So
that's the whole point of the show. We want people to know that it might not be easy, but it is possible.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are here studying. Hata mimi I plan to go back to school, but I don't know when, because books they need dedication and time.
Yeah.
Unajua, mimi I think I'm better at the school of hustle, but we'll see.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So, Jemo, how long have you been around? Because Marilyn, I feel like masters you've done here, right?
Yes.
And now you're doing a doctorate. So give or take some years there.
Yes,
You've
but
been
I
around.
didn't. So I didn't directly go into my doctorate, because what happened is I did my masters, finished, went back home, worked there for a couple of months,
Okay.
then came back. So almost since 2017 when I came for my masters. So give or take 5 years.
5
yeah.
years around.
Yeah.
Okay. And Jambo, you've been here for?
A little bit less time than that.
You're fresh.
A month and a week, I think. Or a
That
month
is
and 2
good.
weeks,
That
yeah.
I think that's why I asked for you to come, because your whole process will be very fresh.
We mean you're fresh
And
now.
probably if there's any changes since the time Marilyn might have started her process, there's always changes in how to come for education and, the process and all that. At least we can get to hear from you firsthand. And I've heard there's a lot of new students, new nurses in Glasgow. We met most of them during the event that was held in Calabash the last weekend, which Serena missed. It's all right. And before we go into details, let's play one more song, and then tutarudi. Then I will go deep into questions now and ask you about coming, what it has been. Mostly, Jemo, you'll tell us how you came, how you applied, how it was, how easy or hard getting a school here, how you decided about coming to Scotland, because UK is quite large, how you ended up in Scotland. And then from there, maybe Marilyn will tell us now the life and times of a student here, and maybe she liked it so that she decided to do even the doctorate around here. So the next song is new, actually, by someone called Octo PZZO. It's called No Signal. Let's go. What's up? We're back with my guests. I'm here with a gentleman called James and a lady called Marilyn. James, you're doing sound engineering, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in Kenya and you decide I can't find a school here, or what informs this decision to try and look for something outside?
Yeah, pretty much that's the case, because in Kenya, the highest level that you can get in this course or in this field is a diploma at a certain institution. But since that wasn't really what I was looking for, I was looking for a degree, or probably to move on, as my learned colleague, if you don't mind me calling you that, has done so far. So I looked up, and I was also talking with my dad and stuff like that. He's the one who actually encouraged me to move into higher level of learning. So I looked around the world and got to UK, specifically where I'm at currently, where I'm doing my degree in audio production.
So this goes from I want to do sound, I want to do it as a degree, and then I'll just go and Google whatever schools are there, and then you find the school that you actually came to.
Yeah, it's a lot of looking at different options that you get from the amount of time that it takes. So I've looked through hundreds of universities and colleges, just looking at the details of their courses, seeing what they offer. But usually just start a general sound engineering.
The course, yeah.
Then you get so many options, and
then this school, is it just in Scotland, or is it also elsewhere in the UK?
The school itself is actually global, but it has three branches in the UK. There's a branch in London and Liverpool, and then we have also the Glasgow option.
All right, but they're offering the same stuff, or is
The
different
same
stuff in
the same. Any college you go to worldwide offers the same kind of learning experience. And
okay, and then you decide, okay, I want to do this. You show your dad, and then next is how expensive is this going to be, or am I getting any scholarship, or how does that go then after that?
For this kind of courses, it's a bit difficult to look and find scholarships. So it was how expensive is it going to be. So the original plan actually was London. Then I looked at living costs, and if anyone who's ever
London is you live per square foot. That's how they charge you.
pretty much, because it's like I was gonna sell parts of my body. I was this guys who's going to start to selling
So
kidneys.
it's either your kidney or sound engineering.
Yeah, you choose one or flat. Let's put that way for a month, and then you sell your other kidney for another month. So it gets hectic. So I ended up in Scotland because it's much fairer in terms of living, and also generally the people are nicer. So
Okay. Now, what inspired you to do this sound engineering? Because when I was, and I'm not saying I'm too old, but as we had a very specific set of things your parent will say you're going to do. If you did not do that, if you start mentioning something like sound, you want to study sound. Have you finished being a doctor, a lawyer, this and that? And how supportive is your parent to say, or is now Kenya right now, is there like opportunities for such a degree? And that's why you've maybe now it's different from my time when I was trying to apply for an undergrad. And you see, even me, I tried law first, failed to get the points to get into law, so did journalism. So what informed that the fact that you wanted to do sound, and how cool is your dad, or is it just because now there's a market for it?
Technically, let me start with the fact that the industries are changing in Kenya. The way you look at things and the way it's grown, also the social aspects of how kids and what they want to study and stuff like that. It's slowly changing. It's still not much different because everybody still wants to do law. Unaambiwa bro, pate kuwa daktari.
Yeah,
Ndio. tunataka nini, pilot, you want to do those kind of things. So that was almost around the case. I was looking, originally I wanted to become a quantity surveyor like my dad because he's in the field, but I didn't really know what I wanted personally. So but then I was called to University of let me not mention any names for certain reasons, to pursue BCom, Bachelor in Commerce. But then, so as I was doing that, at the time I was studying a diploma in business IT at another institution.
Business IT is BBIT.
So that one was now DBIT instead of
I know
Bachelor.
in it's called what? JQuat. You went to JQuat.
Yeah,
right? That was a big place for BBIT.
Yeah, I know. I remember. Yes.
I think it was still new, and it was now the fresh thing. Business in IT.
Yeah,
Or what?
business in IT.
it's
That is
quite
what
popular.
it meant. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was very popular at a point.
Yeah, so where I was, it's also quite popular at the other institution I was at. So they offer, I got to know that if I did accounting, which is ACCAs, in UK it's more common, but in Kenya people would compare it with CPAs. That once I'm done with that, and it's also adding my credentials and my papers, I get to join BCom third year, and I can study in the evening and work during the day. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to do BCom, this makes much more sense.
Yeah.
But as I was doing it, and as I was studying it and going through the difficulties of very crazy exams, I realized like in 5-10 years I'll probably not going to be here sitting doing this. I may do it just to earn money, but it's not something I would wake up and look, hey, I want to go and do this. And
It's
this
not
and
for
this.
the love. It's for the
It's
credentials, and
it's for the
you have to make a life.
yeah, it's the credentials and the bag. You're
Yeah.
chasing the bag, as they say. So other than that, I looked into it. So at the time I was playing bass. I've been playing bass for about 4 years now.
Where do you play?
Anywhere, but mainly I would play in church band, because the opportunities are more often there. But anywhere, once in a while, meet up with some friends and just jam or go and do some few small gigs. So as I was playing, and I realized I love music and I love the technicalities of it, especially during COVID. So when COVID happened, when things were closed down,
the live shows online and streaming became now the thing,
it
because
became
people
the thing.
could not go out for.
And then now at that point I was in part of the band that you have to record, and now I got to see, okay, this is how recording works, this is how this goes from this live, or for example from this microphone, into what you guys can hear at home.
Yeah.
So that got me interested into now doing audio in general. and hopefully the goal is my own studio somewhere and doing a wide variety of stuff. So yeah.
Marilyn,
Yes, yes.
I can't even remember what you started doing. Can you remind us again, please? Your list was long. And what made you first do that course in JQuat?
Okay. So, yes. So, my undergrad was in financial engineering in JQuat. What made me do it was, I think, round about high school, I was convinced I wanted to work in the corporate world. Like, I wanted to go into, like, work, in boardrooms and business world. So that is pretty much what I felt like my area was. However, throughout primary school, just because, you grew up and you asked, oh, what do you want to be? And I always used to say I wanted to be a doctor. But I just never really wanted to be a doctor because I can't even stand working in hospitals. So that aside, so I always knew I wanted to be like in corporate world, and I enjoyed business and things like that. So when it came to going into the degree straight off from high school, I think, I just perused like available business degrees, and then financial engineering caught my eye. Went through the modules and the details, and made decisions here and there, and that is how I ended up in it. Needless to say, it was such a grueling course, like, oh my days.
Financial engineering.
Yes. So it's a lot of quantitative analysis, a lot of you're pretty much building financial models. So I think the engineering aspect comes in because you're building financial models. But so that was how I ended up there.
Did you start working, or did you obviously think you want to do masters already?
No, after going through that grueling process, I didn't want to study
out
immediately.
Of school.
No. So I was fortunate. I got a job immediately after. I worked in an investment management company for around about 2 years. And then towards the tail end of that, of working there, I figured, okay, this is now when I want to go for further studies. So initially what I was looking to study then, because I'd begun my applications quite early. So initially what I thought I wanted to do then, I looked through a bunch of courses here and there, but then with time my interests had sort of like shifted, and I was moving away from the very quantitative side of things, but I was still keen, within business, and because I'd worked very closely with like startups and entrepreneurial education and educating, just pretty much educating startups and business owners, my interests were growing towards that line. So then what I did is, and actually even how I found myself in Glasgow was, I looked through universities, right? I was not the kind of person who was looking at any particular city. I was keen on looking at a good university. So,
did you have a course in mind, though?
Yes, I had a course. I wanted something within business and management, or an MBA. So I wanted MBA or around business and management. But we know an MBA in the UK is quite expensive. And then, but I actually, what happened is, before I did the MBA, because I was really, really keen on getting to a very, very good school. So I went and did what they call GMAT exams. If you're familiar with GMAT exams, so it's just like it's pretty much like a kind of assessment that a lot of business schools require you to do to get into like into those into those
so
very
who
good
was offering
business
that
schools.
in Kenya?
So there's a college, I can't even remember the name, but there's a college somewhere.
And you pay for this?
You pay. So you pay for the exam, but I never got to the exam. I just did the evening classes. So I went for evening classes for GMAT. And then after the evening classes, that's when I realized, okay, I really don't want to go into this exam, because I was just, I was in a very busy job and managing that with like evening classes. So I figured I didn't want to go for a GMAT exam. So then what happened is, that is now when I went from, okay, maybe instead of doing an MBA, I can, deal with something to do with business and management. So I applied to quite a number of universities like around. So mainly in England. And then Strathclyde was the only one I applied to in Scotland. And then when it came down to comparing the different offers, because I got offers, I compared, I looked around and saw, and it came down to pretty much what university ranks the highest. And just around the time I was applying to start, I think Strathclyde had, won like University of the Year in terms of Business School of the Year, and the ranking was really, really good, like very, very good for the business school in particular. And I got to learn about how it's top business school in Scotland and all of that. So so then that is how I ended up in Strathclyde. That happens to be in Glasgow. So I was
Wasn't a
never,
plan.
me being Glasgow was never a plan. Strathclyde brought me to Glasgow.
And what about for you, the money side of things? Were you looking for funding? Were you directly thinking I'm gonna fund my own way, or what was? And was it looking expensive, like he's saying?
Yeah, I think so once I got the offer and I narrowed down on Strathclyde, I tried looking for funding here and there, but you can imagine it's quite competitive.
Yes,
and then
of
because
course.
major fundings also come in different cycles throughout the year, I think I just like missed that cycle. So I was fortunate enough, my parents were willing to send me off here,
Yeah.
which was good. So I didn't have to worry so much about that. But yeah, so that is pretty much how I ended up starting out with my master's.
And I've seen a lot of people who are not in Kenya, but when they want to come and study, there's like companies in Kenya whose job is to like get you into school or become middlemen or become. And both of your stories, there seems to be like,
it
I
is
just went online, I went to the
actually,
school.
yeah, because when you got into like me applying for my student visa and stuff
Yeah.
like that, there's a company in Kenya. It's called UniConnect. I was connected to by a friend of mine. They do everything for you. So even after I got like the ideas of which colleges I want to go to, or which universities, I sent it to them. They looked whether they are approved, whether those colleges are approved for their standards. They get back to you. They tell you, okay, you can apply this way, that way. Then after that, and everything is done, they even fill in your visa forms for you. They do everything.
So
for
this
you.
UniConnect is in Kenya?
Yeah, it's in Kenya.
Yeah.
And you pay
And
for
just
that?
to add,
It's free.
he's spoken about UniConnect. I used Uniserve, and it's pretty much the same service.
And it's still in Kenya as well?
So Uniserve is in Kenya, it's in Westlands, and it's pretty much the same. They do everything for you. They even help you with the visa application. So you pretty much just shop at the offices with
Tell
your
them.
documents. They'll fill out
And
the
it's
form,
free.
arrange
Yeah, it's
everything
free.
for you, book an
Never heard of
appointment for
this.
you at the at the visa area, and then all you have to do is you can, like they arrange everything for you. All
like
you have to
what
do,
you
you just
need,
show
whatever.
up
Sure.
Yeah.
for your visa application appointment with everything set for you. So they make things quite convenient.
It's very
Yeah.
It's free for students.
All right.
Anything.
Let's play some music. Then we'll come back and discuss now, after you've got your thing and you're here, how's life as a student over here, and some more. The next song is by Zuchu. Zuchu was just ranked by YouTube as the highest played musician from, I think, East Africa. The crazy thing is that Diana B is also on that list. So I think in this world right now is about you leveraging what you have. If you have numbers on IG, you can be an artist. You have numbers on YouTube, you can be an artist. Let's go. This song is called Kwikwi, quite new as well. And we are back. That was Zuchu with Kwikwi. We're talking about getting education in or further education in Europe. I have some great guests with me. Mary Lynn, who's next in a few months, we're calling her doctor. Do you know how important that is in Africa?
Hey. If she
You
goes
talk to your
anywhere.
professor and you do not acknowledge that part that he has gone to school for all these years. And it's so weird because in these places like in Europe, no one even wants you to
No big
mention
deal.
that title in front of their name. Your lecturer is just coming and telling you, hi, I'm Tony and I'm teaching you this and that.
Yeah.
And it's done.
Back in Kenya,
If you
it's
call
Nikikohoa.
doctors, you don't call doctor someone in Africa, that is especially in Kenya. I don't know actually the
Kenya.
rest of the countries.
Hey, in Kenya nikikohoa unaitika.
Yeah, professor.
Yeah.
And some places you have to even say if he has like 4 titles,
You have
first
to say
start
them
with
all.
them.
In order.
Where in any case, we just finished the last conversation we had it was about you guys told me about this companies called one is called UniConnect and the other one Uniserve.
Yeah.
And they help you get everything you need and apply to come. By the time you're going there, have you paid because I've heard that you pay even fees here first 1 year or something. Do you have to have paid that as well, or they just help you just know all the things you need to have and apply for the visa?
They let you know stuff like that if it's necessary for your visa application. The Uni Connect.
So if you will need a payment, any payment before you do your visa, they will have to.
I just walked into an office one day and said, "Hey, I want
to go and do this
this and this," and then from then on, they showed me what I need to do. They also connected me directly, like, to the uni itself. So I was also talking with people from the university themselves who actually now give me more detail on what exactly I need to do. My instance, I needed to pay fees before
coming.
Yeah, because they also it eases the visa application.
Yeah,
and they can see all that stuff and getting your, what is it called? It's called a confirmation of acceptance number. It's
that
a
you take
number.
to go now.
That's necessary for your visa application.
Okay.
Otherwise, you most likely will be declined for one reason or another.
That's great. I never knew there's like companies that do everything. Me, I'm always scared about, anyone who's back there trying to, and especially if they are charging you, and you say these two are free.
Yep.
So that means at least they might be honest. Maybe they know how they're making their end from this side, probably from the schools and getting students there.
Yeah.
Now let's start with Marilyn, because she came first to Scotland. You've got your first, you did your undergrad and you've come to Scotland. How was the experience for you? Just, I'm guessing this is the first time you're out to stay longer or you've been traveling before that?
I
for long periods,
but this was my first time in the UK, and definitely my first time in Scotland. So obviously the preparation process was all about like, it's so cold. So
carry sweater.
Yes, and that is what I keep telling everybody. Like, just stock up on your winter jackets and all of that. So I think that was like the thing I was expecting.
Yeah.
And then luckily, because I knew someone who was here before, whom I went to high school with. So she was very great for like letting me know what to expect and things like that. So when I came in, I kind of knew what to expect in terms of the weather, how it is. And then the school was also very nice in terms of orienting us into the session. So it was a very seamless induction process. We were oriented like through the school, what we needed to do, and then there were also enough opportunities for you to be able to like learn about the city and go around different places in the city. So I feel like it was an easy way to settle in. Okay. And then luckily also back then there weren't really housing crisis like how
right
we're here now. So it was
Jambo
so easy for me to get.
James has a story to
so
tell
it
us
was so easy for me to get an accommodation.
Yeah.
And I managed to secure one before I came.
How was the
transition
meeting
was quite
students
easy.
from the same background as yourself? Was there like a community and stuff like that?
Yes. So for me, like I said, like the lady I had connected with who happened, I went to the same high school with, so she knew other people, and what she did is she put all of us in one WhatsApp group. Right. So just that I was able to meet the
is
first
this the same
batch of
WhatsApp
friends.
group I am on as well?
No, that's a different one. No, that's a different one.
So
that was much smaller. It was just her. It was her, and there was me, another lady from Kenya, and then another guy from Kenya, and a few other guys from different countries. But we were all like newer to Glasgow, and she just put us in one WhatsApp group, all of us, and we were able to navigate ourselves around. But yeah.
That's cool. James, yours was different, and what was your, did you get information like bring your sweaters? What is you're very fresh. So what is you are still even going through the effects of, have you ever lived outside of Kenya?
Lived? No.
So this is the first time
to live
away from home.
1
month something you said, right?
Yeah, 1 month something.
Yeah. What is the striking thing that you saw that is different from home that was like, what is this?
The obvious, it's much cleaner here. It's much more organized. The systems like work as they should. In Kenya, I like saying in Kenya we have the systems, the people are a bit questionable, but it is what it is. It's our flavor. My coming here was quite different. Though I have a number of friends who have studied in the UK.
Yeah, so they gave you a little bit of
They gave
information
me
beforehand.
But even them, they're like, Scotland is a different place because they're in Britain. They're in Britain, so they're like, they just gave me a few pointers.
Scotland is in Britain.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Do you know it is? And
You know,
actually,
we are in Scotland, we're in Britain, and we're in the UK. So it's like 3 in 1.
Hold on.
yeah.
Anyway,
Did you know the
it's in
difference?
England.
Like, did you know that you're in a different place, and this there's even a different sort of maybe language? English is different here, or did you expect it already? You knew?
I expected it from looking around online because I also looked at videos of guys talking about Scotland and stuff like that. The 4 different seasons in the day, all that. I braced myself early enough.
So you didn't have a problem because me, I couldn't hear anything when I came here first. I could not hear. And it is English. I literally thought there was another language here.
Oh,
Could you hear?
For me, yeah,
maybe you're in class and you're just
and I'm just
asking
there like,
yourself what are they saying here?
I could hear, but I think that was based because I've worked at a call center before dealing with US citizens. And US, there are very many different accents, and
let's say your ears have like accustomed themselves to
so they got accustomed because everything is different and stuff like that. So I had no issue with that. My major issue coming here was accommodation.
And it is still a major issue.
It's still a major issue.
I've heard it from even other students and other even nurses are going through the same thing, not only students.
Just the other day at the event, I met a guy who's studying at Glasgow University, but he has to stay in Stirling. So that's
the distance.
It's almost an hour's away from here. So it's
and that's why it's good. You see, like groups like what Marilyn's saying. They had a group. The event we did the other day. Because, most people who are already here living and working are quite out of touch with people just coming to study.
Yeah.
You're living very different lives. And if as a community we are not rallying people around each other to know, okay, new people have come, maybe there's something they need or something they even know. They might even have new information because the old ways are always changing right now. Things are changing. Like you've said, we were not being encouraged by anyone to go study sound. I tried to do music and I was being looked at like, are you serious? Is that a career? Actually, it was serious. So, yeah, things are changing, and we and that's why we're even doing this show. That's why I wanted you guys to come on this show, because we are now telling people things. I did not know about these 2 companies that I can just send someone in Nairobi right now, go to this office. It's in Westie.
Yeah, they're both in Westlands actually. So
see, things can be made so easy when there's information flowing around in and around us, as and that's amazing to hear. So you've already settled. You're now studying. You're going to class already.
Yeah, I've been going to class. Just a week after I landed, I was in class. So
it's that fast.
It's work.
How are you finding then the learning experience here and the learning experience from back home?
Well, it may not be a fair comparison because the course I'm doing is quite practical.
Pretty hands-on,
It's hands-on. So I've been pretty much busy since day one. So, but normally it's I would say it's interesting. It's more than hands-on. It's when I compare it back to like when I did my diploma in business IT.
Yeah.
There it's more relaxed in like you have like the first 3 weeks it's getting acclimatized, it's slowly getting into stuff. For here it's bang, it's go.
You go in and start working.
It's work.
How about like things like you're doing sound, so equipment, classrooms, how is it? What do you feel is?
Yeah, unlike probably most colleges here, we have quite a small classroom. We have just about 20 guys. The equipment there is top notch. It's industry standard. They actually advertise it and it's proven. They prove it and everything there is top of the line. So I'm learning from the best of the best that is, or maybe not the best of the best out there because there's some crazy custom equipment out there, but industry standard, the best of the best.
I remember when I was doing, I did journalism in the University of Nairobi. I never saw a studio anywhere. But we learned everything on paper, and you're expected to be, head out and now take a camera, and go do something with it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think even in schools, like you see, like Daystar and other different schools that come up and try to have avenues for students to do practical things, those people kind of go further ahead. I was speaking to someone you said called Ian Wafula. I went all the way to London to actually ask him about some course he came to do over here, which I thought it's for journalists. It's called the Shivening. It's not even actually for journalists. It's for anyone.
Yeah, it's a scholarship.
It's just a scholarship that any
general,
person from every respect of education can just apply for. I did not know that. I thought it was for journalists because I thought I heard some other journalists did it before him. So my head went to it. He was telling me, no, everyone can just. Then I asked him, how hard was it to apply? He said he failed 2 times. Not because it was difficult to get into, but they need to see your career, because this is a master's. They want to see you doing this. You plan to do this after the course. What is your plan? What do you have planned? That's why they're taking you, because they're trying to take the young people who are going to change things back home in Africa. And I was like, no, I did not know that. I'll put that interview actually up together with this one, because they kind of they relate. Your study experience here, because you're doing doctorate studying here. You actually kind of teach as well. I think you've ever said that.
Yes, I also tutor.
So how does that even happen now? You start tutoring and you're still studying. Okay, tell us.
Okay, so my experience first.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed my master's. I felt like for a long time I was really enjoying it. The school environment is quite accommodating. The facilities are there. The library is functioning. The books are functioning. Like a lot of things are just seem to be functioning. So that way it makes the education journey quite nice.
Yeah.
A lot of master's programs, especially the MSc programs, tend to be have a lot of group work. So there'll be a lot of opportunities for group work. That way you get to make friends from other different countries, because the schools are also quite diverse. And you also get to learn a few things here and there. But again, it's not just school only. Like there's chances for fun, to get to explore around, to travel around, especially over summer.
Yeah.
So I think you can get a very wholesome experience of being a student, and just having a fulfilling time here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were doing a master's, right? So
yes.
You're looking forward to it. You're doing a master's, right?
Yes.
So did you ever I hear students work here, they do side jobs. You are allowed some time or hours.
Yeah.
I think master's you're studying full time, like Monday to Friday, James.
Yeah, it's full
So
time.
you have that time to work, but you just can't.
Well, yeah, but even then, the time to work that's permitted on our visas is 20 hours a week. So if you can find the time, and if you can make
just
work,
find a job.
You can find a job.
And I feel like that's a good thing for students as well, who you're coming from Africa and you maybe upkeep and stuff. If you can squeeze time in somewhere to do something else.
And I think, honestly, it's quite possible, because, the program is quite intense, because you're in school most of the weekdays from Monday to Friday. But I feel like during weekends or even in the evening hours, there can be some flexibility in your routine to accommodate a job here or there.
Yeah.
Obviously within the required hours that, we are allowed as international students. And what I found is that many companies that do 0-hour contract jobs. So by 0-hour contract jobs, it means you're not necessarily obliged to work a certain number of hours in a week. So it means each week you can be able to review your schedule, and then also review the available shifts or whatnot, and then integrate that with your school quite well. So I think the opportunities to be for flexibility and there.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. There's a lot of information we're unpacking here. I'm enjoying this interview. I hope you are too. Lakini, we have to entertain as well. Let's go to the next song. We have from Uganda. We're representing for our people, Museveni side. It's called Mutima, and the artist is unknown. That's nameless in Uganda. That's Mutima by an artist called Unknown from Uganda. You're listening to us from www.jamboradio.co.uk. Jambo Radio on Instagram, Jambo Radio on Facebook. Today I've had amazing guests and I feel like we have unpacked a lot. I've also got to learn a lot. Like if I was listening to us and I was in Africa trying to come to study, this was a show with information of where, how, and also we've got to know about the experiences of a new student here and someone who's been here for a longer while. Now I would like to give them the opportunity to maybe tell you guys why it's or how they've enjoyed the experience here, give you guys some advice and whatever they would like to add on top of that, because they have come here, they've experienced it. Though James is new, he has first-hand experience of moving it's called post-COVID. Post-COVID, and moving to a new country with new rules, new culture. All that is also something to consider when you decide to go somewhere, because most of these studies you might take maybe a year or 2, 3 or 4. Marilyn has been here for 5, in and out, so it's a place you kind of end up calling home a little bit. And I want to ask you guys, especially you, Marilyn, is this sort of home? Why did you even decide to still do doctorate here? Maybe you had choices to go somewhere different, experience something different, so you made a choice to still come back here. And what are your prospects? Are you gonna now leave after your doctorate, or after doctorate? What does someone do, by the way? Is there that's
Marilyn can tell us.
There are a bunch of career paths someone can go into depending on
study
your own
wise,
interest.
after a PhD, it's
like study wise. If someone goes into the traditional academic pathway, it will probably be you're either going into research or teaching. If you're going to research, or going into things like, say, postdoc, like a postdoctoral, and then go up the ladder, right? Until like your professor.
They tell us education has no end.
There's
probably
really
you
no
can
end.
you can still go to school and do something else and do something else.
And in and out of school, like there's no end to education.
So give us like your parting shot advice. Some people who want to come and study out here, and give them some advice.
Okay. What I'll say, first of all, with like this quote unquote post-pandemic era, things have gone to things have opened up. So I think the opportunities to go out of the country, to travel, like the border restrictions are down. So right now I think there are so many opportunities out there to be able to explore studying abroad in the UK. I would say it's a very, very fulfilling journey. It's an enjoyable journey. It's very worthwhile. It will be worth your time and your effort. So if anyone is thinking about it, I'd always say go for it. In terms of schools, there are a variety of schools. Like I think the UK in itself has the last time I checked should be close to 160 universities.
And I've heard there's also like fundings. A lot of fundings online that people can just go try and find.
Exactly. So in terms of looking for schools that they'll be spoiled for choice, in terms of funding, I know the most popular ones are things like Commonwealth and Chevening. But even aside from that, there'll be other private funding, like say the university self-funding, or even Kenyan government or different institutions. So for funding opportunities, there are a bunch of resources online to be able to go into funding opportunities. In terms of Kenyan community outside the country, you guys will bear witness. Like the Kenyan community, even if it's just here in Glasgow alone, is quite it's quite big. And I think different cities will have similar thing because of the diversity and things like that. And even if you don't get only Kenyans, like you'll always get East Africans or just Africans.
African community.
So you'll always have, like, you can easily have a sense of community. I know right now with the whole thing of mental health and loneliness and whatnot, that can drive people away from moving away from home. But if you move away from home, with time you'll build that community, and you'll have that sense of community. That actually a place even becomes your home. Like, and that goes to the question you're asking me about when a place becomes your home is when you've built that sense of community around it.
So you're gonna stay probably,
We'll see where God leads.
How the education takes you.
As God leads.
James.
Yeah.
Give us a parting shot, and what do you think about everything we've discussed?
Advice I would give on anyone looking to study is do your research, know your stuff, know what you want to do. know where you have an idea of where you want to go, seek help. I'll give another piece of advice which my dad likes to give us a lot. People know the worth of people.
All right.
Find a way to connect somehow, one way or another. Even if you're still back at home and you're trying to reach out here, look online to see whether there are guys who actually where you're going. It may be here, it may not be here, but connect with them, because that's helped me quite a lot in just from once he's touched down to settling in.
That helped.
It's like you knew you had contact with somebody, so when you met them here, it's now getting to know them. They assist you so much.
Rather than coming and starting from introductions
fresh, because I feel like I've been here for longer than a month, because
amount of people you've met,
the amount of people I've met, and the way I move around.
1 month you're already on radio speaking about.
Imagine.
That's cool. And so that I love that piece of advice. If you're anywhere, because I've also lived in other countries, you can go even to Facebook and look for a community, Kenyan community or something. You will find people on these platforms.
You'll find just talk to them and be humble enough just to listen to what they tell you about things. You don't know anything.
Cool.
Just learn it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for
having us
gracing
today.
the show. I hope you'll come back more times, and we'll have other things to discuss as your experiences continue growing. I know you guys are going places.
Absolutely.
Now, Mtarudi. Thank you so much. That is our show for today, the African Warriors Show. You know, we're here to educate, elevate, and entertain. We are going out with a new song called Kuna Kuna by Brandy.